Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of KYC, Know Your Crypto. We've got an interesting agenda for you today. We're going to talk about FUD, which is fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and why it happens and what kinds of things cause FUD. We're going to talk about the bull cycle and whether or not it's over and if we are, in fact, entering a bear market. And then we're going to look at a couple of charts. I want to keep it simple, and we're going to take a look specifically at the Bitcoin and Ethereum charts. So fear, uncertainty, and doubt, or FUD, is generally a strategy to influence perception by disseminating negative and dubious or false information and a manifestation of the appeal to. So in layman's terms, fear, uncertainty, and doubt is, think of it as bad press for an asset. Now, specifically with Bitcoin, over the last couple of days, there were a couple of articles that came out that definitely had a negative effect on the price of Bitcoin. The first was a double spend, which was actually proven to be false. And I actually have a separate video about that. You can take a look at that in the description, and I will go into a bit more detail on what this double spend was. Adam Back recently tweeted, "There was no Bitcoin double spend. Stop misreporting stuff, seriously." Now, for those of you who do not know who Adam Back is, he's the CEO and co-founder of Blockstream. So Blockstream is a blockchain technology company led by Adam, and it's headquartered in Canada. And for even the newer people into the Bitcoin and crypto space, you may in fact have heard of the Lightning Network. And the Lightning Network is essentially a layer 2 payment protocol that operates on top of a blockchain-based cryptocurrency. And its intention is to enable fast or faster transactions. So Blockstream has a pivotal role in the Lightning Network. The second piece of Bitcoin FUD can be seen in an article from Wired.com. Janet Yellen will consider limiting the use of cryptocurrency. So for those of you who don't know who Janet Yellen is, she is the new president of the United States, Joe Biden's pick to lead the Treasury Department. When asked about cryptocurrency, Yellen responded, "Cryptocurrencies are a particular concern. I think many are used, at least in a transaction sense, mainly for illicit financing." Interesting you say that, Janet. I want to illustrate a point now. The total market cap for Bitcoin right now is $600 billion or 0.6 trillion. The gold market cap is 10.6 trillion. So that's just to give you an idea of how small Bitcoin's market cap is in comparison to gold. Now we'll look at this statistic. How much money is laundered in the United States? Money laundering is a serious crime in the USA. Effectively, the US fights money laundering. It is estimated that $2 trillion of money are laundered through the financial systems every year. Think about that, every year. If $2 trillion are spent or used in any way for laundered money, illicit activity, anything, how does that even compare to Bitcoin's minuscule market cap of 0.6 trillion or 600 billion? If anything, I think this past week has given us a real lesson in what fear, uncertainty, and doubt is, and how it can affect the market, and how truthfully the fundamentals of Bitcoin, I think they reign supreme. And all this fake FUD is what I like to call it sometimes. It's FUD, it's certainly fear, uncertainty, and doubt, but it's all manipulated by the media and by individuals in power who they're, in my opinion, they're trying to draw attention to the smaller issues in the world, which is, yes, I do think that there's probably about 1 to 5%, maybe even less than that. I think I've read a statistic recently where it was less than 1% I think 0.034% of all Bitcoin was used for terrorism and illicit and illegal activity. But I think, saying that Bitcoin is a serious problem when there's all this illicit activity happening with fiat currency, I think it's very irresponsible. And people will certainly wake up to that fact. And that is why Bitcoin will have a dip, but it won't crash. So the question is the bull cycle over? I am not a TA expert, technical analysis expert, but I think by looking at the chart, we will see that this bull cycle is not over. Now, looking at this chart, certainly in the hourly, it's not a good picture, right? If we take a look at when essentially the news articles, the recent FUD articles broke, which was about a couple of days ago, if we take a look from the top of the bottom here, we're roughly between 20 to 23.5% of a loss here in Bitcoin. And certainly in the hourly over the past day, it's picked back up. So as we can see here, from when we wicked to the bottom, we're gonna go back up here. I'm gonna select this again. And it looks like, within a day, we've already come back up, between 15 to 16% here. Okay. So is the bull market over? I mean, looking at the hourly chart, it certainly wouldn't appear that way, but we can't consult and can't ask questions of if a cycle is over by looking at an hourly chart. It's just, it's too small. You got to zoom out. The chart that I like to read the most is the daily chart. And so if we take a look at the daily chart, it paints a much different picture. And so really, if we zoom out here, the big March crash, it looks like a speck of dust here. I mean, it's barely noticeable. I mean, still, if we measure it, we can see that, from the March crash, which started right around here, we still dropped, quite a lot. We still dropped about, over 50%. But if we compare the bottom in March, I'm not even going to get to the bottom of the wick, and we draw how much we've grown since then. I mean, from all the way to the all-time high, I mean, it's crazy. We've gone over 700% since the March drop. So again, if we zoom in a bit more now, we can see that, yes, the last few days haven't been the greatest for us, but we're still on an upward trend here. And until my sense is until, let me just draw the fib here. Fib retracements is what I want now. I'm going to take a look at the fib retracement because that's always a good way to understand kind of the areas that we should be bouncing off of. And so, if we take a look back here in the middle of December, for example, I think we could see here that we've got some good levels of support. We've bounced a few times between 27,500 and around 30,000. Okay, and so I think it's going to give us an understanding. So we kept the support level here at around 27,900. We hadn't actually reached that low. This is actually today. So we wicked down from yesterday's FUD still, and then we were able to bounce back up. We're currently at the moment at 33,500. And my general feeling is that we're still on this upward trend here. And realistically, if we don't fall below 25,000, I don't think we're ever going to see 19,000 again, or at least in this bull cycle, I don't believe that we will see Bitcoin below 20,000. And I know that the thought of Bitcoin being around 20 to 23,000 and below that is scary, but realistically, in July and August, I remember in the summer when Bitcoin went to 11,000, I thought it was expensive. And $11,000 Bitcoin now sounds extremely cheap sounds like a dream to me, let alone, Bitcoin for 5,000. I think we are certainly still in a bull market. That's just my opinion. It's not financial advice. I would hodl though if I were you and you do own Bitcoin, but again, not financial advice. All right, so this is the Ethereum chart, and the first thing I want to actually turn your attention to is how interesting it is that Ethereum hit its all-time high in 2018 in January, and almost exactly 3 years to the date, we've retouched. And if you ask certain people, they actually think that we broke through and we went above the previous all-time high. I don't think it really matters that much. And I think that now that we're in price discovery, just to give a sense here, we're going to see some larger bounces from Ethereum now. And I think that, when Ethereum goes up 20 to 40 to $50 up and down a day, it was obviously a much bigger deal back when Ethereum was worth a few $100s, which really wasn't that long ago, back in the summer. And now we're talking, once Ethereum properly clears its current or previous all-time high, however you're looking at it, we're talking about jumps of potentially $100 or more within a day. And that, I think, is going to be fairly standard. We're talking on days where there isn't a major spike or a major dip. So if you're holding Ethereum right now, just expect some volatility, but I do think that Ethereum is a very, very safe asset to be in. Again, not financial advice. Do your own research. That about does it for this video. Do you think we are in a bull cycle, or do you think that we are approaching a bear winter? Let me know what you think. Comment below. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and subscribe. If you didn't like the video, all I ask, in addition to hitting the dislike button, is leaving a comment and let me know what I can improve for the next one. As I mentioned earlier in this video, I have another video that's coming out to sort of join this video, which discusses the double spend FUD that was released recently on Bitcoin. So I hope that you like that video as well. Before I go, I do just want to draw everyone's attention to Skystruck Crypto. It is a YouTube channel that is run by someone by the name of Skylar. And this channel, Skystruck, is also a channel for beginners in the crypto space. That's not to say, Skylar covers many different things. So it's not just fully for beginners. And that's essentially what Know Your Crypto is all about, is that it is for beginners, but it's also for people who've been in the space for a while. And I don't want my content to be specifically just, for new people or for people who've been in the space a while. I want it to be for both. So I really do thank you for joining me for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.